Well, hi everybody, Paul Stone and David Lack from Biggin and Scott's, and we're here to do the roundup for the month of November. It's the 2nd of December, so it's... but a lot has happened for you during the last month, David.
Oh, it's been crazy.
And I think you've recovered. But for those of you that don't know, David and his team were involved with the block this year, and it was a massive result. As the brand, you were the winning auctioneer. Had the highest result, but let's talk about the process, because it is tough. For people watching, TV is one thing, but finding a buyer is another.
Absolutely.
You know, so everybody loves the show, everybody would like to live in one of those apartments, but there's only a certain amount of people that can afford over $2 million. So let's run through the process and what you had to go through.
Absolutely. Well, I think... in terms of the agency involvement, I mean, we were involved from pretty much the very first room. So unlike many of the other agents that were appointed, they were appointed towards the end of the process.
Right.
Whereas we really felt the bumps, we were consultative. Like, we actually gave our ideas and recommendations to Will and Carly. They ran things past us. There was a couple of things that we said, no, don't do it, which was good. So we had that communication very, very early on.
Yeah.
And it was a different sort of campaign to your normal campaign, in that major sponsor of the block was Domain. And what that meant was that the advertising for the property was over 12, 16 weeks. So as each room was revealed, we revealed it on the internet, the details about it. So it was sort of a bit like cooking. It was sort of like simmering, but making sure that we didn't overcook it, and obviously the buyers didn't go stale.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a long period of time to maintain interest in the property. Leading up sort of that 3 or 4 weeks, we included print advertising as well.
Yep.
And it was a really good, I suppose, wake-up call in terms of what do we do with buyers, how do we communicate with them, how do we qualify them, and when you have a property that a lot of people want to look at but don't necessarily can afford, or, you know...
A lot of people?
A lot of people.
20,000?
You know, it's one of those things that it really... it sometimes could, I suppose, push your processes to breaking point, and I think I'm really glad that how it all pulled together. I mean, it was a massive project by the whole team, social media, being run by Emma, Vanessa behind the scenes with all constantly updating the website, the information as we were allowed to disclose it through Channel 9.
Yeah.
Everything had to be vetted by themselves. The buyer inquiry, which you can imagine was absolutely enormous, which Will handled really, really well. So the qualification process, getting people through the property, and then basically that last week, sort of pulling it all together.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a team effort. The whole office was involved. We had our fan day, which was for the fans.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, we actually pulled a couple of buyers from that, out of 10,000 people that went through, and then those last couple of days, really getting that registration process in place, qualifying people, communicating with the buyers' advocates, and we had a pretty good feel as to where the market was, and I think it showed, because at the end of the day, we advised Will and Carly to go first, if they had the opportunity of going first, and we got the most money on the table.
Yeah.
And it was a process where some of the agents...
was the quickest auction.
Ours was the quickest auction. I think we probably had about 7 minutes airtime, with a lot of focus on our contestants, Will and Carly, with their expressions and crying on camera and whatever, but it was like bulls at a gate, was really full on. The pressure, I've never felt that pressure before. The expectation of Channel 9, set the bar high. The contestants, make as much money as you can. They had expectations of probably 100, 150,000. We felt that we were going to do better than that, from the interest, but it just all came together. And yes, it was a very quick auction, but we delivered.
Yeah. Well, that's what we do.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of things going on here, and I think it's important that we communicate this, because that young couple, Will and Carly, they worked with you from day one. They worked with you. They weren't getting in the way and making things difficult for you. They listened and they helped and they complemented the whole thing, rather than, some sales that we see where people try to second guess everything that we do, and it becomes a very difficult sale. So that process seemed to be very streamlined for you, which is fantastic.
It was quite natural, because we actually prefer working with vendors quite a while before they're ready to go on the market.
Yep.
So getting the properties styled correctly, if there's maintenance that needs to be done, advertising at the right time, making sure there's no long weekends or school holidays where it's a larger property.
Yep.
So what we were doing is not unlike what we normally do, but it was interesting. Just in terms of just all the little things, just in terms of the use of the video, the footage of the contestants rather than about ourselves. The only time you actually saw us on camera was on the night of the auction. That was it. But it was really all about the property, or about our contestants and what a wonderful job they've done. And look, that's what it's always about. It's about our clients. It's not about ourselves. We just facilitate the process.
Well, so good segue there. So the process is, and you and your team and the whole group, what we concentrate on is process. So it's not the price. It's not the one individual thing. It's the whole process of how a sale is handled that gets people a good result. So where people try to slot other things into the process can make it very clunky. And it worked well. When we originally sat down, we said, there's a lot of distractions here. You need to concentrate on finding the buyers and dealing with them directly, because interesting you say a couple came through the big open day, which is 20,000 odd people, but that's rare.
Absolutely.
Because they don't want to line up with 20,000 other people all day. I know the team put a lot of work into this, and it's credit to you guys. You did a fantastic job, and to you. Yeah. So what's happened after that? So you've come out of that, and you probably feel like you need a holiday, because it's very stressful.
It is pretty stressful. So business as usual.
Yep.
It has we've seen a very late spring run.
Yep.
So a lot of activity. We're auctioning properties up to the 17th of December, which we don't normally do, but that's just the way things are. And look, the weather's certainly better than what we've seen over mid-spring. Yeah. And buyers are out in force.
Well, now it is spring, so it's the second day of summer. So being a month behind with everything, we're still in spring. It's finally come out. So the market is there's still that catch up, and it seems to have been in your market anyway, mostly apartments.
Yes.
Which is a bit of a price thing. People purchase all the expensive ones. They don't want to move.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't get any closer to the water.
That's right. So most of the turnover has probably been sub $1 million with regards to the apartments.
Yeah.
The house market is particularly strong. There's been some amazing results in Port Melbourne. Over $3 million. Mm-hmm. We're not talking properties on massive blocks, but well renovated or well built.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be long before we see probably a $4 to $5 million sale in Port Melbourne. That's not on the water. Yeah,
interesting. So the current market will be the market going into early next year, and I'd say at the very least up until to Easter. What you find now is what you'll find when we kick off next year. So sell or come to David with confidence that it is a good market. And buying wise, you will have to compete. It's just a fact. It's
absolutely
lack of stock.
Yeah, but we're now listing for February and March, and there will be some discrete sales. We're not waiting to take the properties to market publicly. So if you are looking to buy and you haven't touched base with us, it's probably a good time to do so, because there are some people that have seen properties that they would like to buy. Yeah. And if they secure those, they need to move on. So rather than waiting till February and March to be on the market, we are getting contracts and Section 32s prepared as we speak. Yeah. and they're really good properties. So
And we spoke the other day in training about our process for off-market sales. So we definitely have a process for that, and there is a way for it to be handled correctly. So your market is primed for those sort of transactions.
very much so.
If you'd like to talk to the guys about that, please do. So Christmas coming up, you can have a rest. You can go fishing for a little while,
Yes.
and then and we're back. Port Melbourne on fire as always. So
Yep, absolutely. We'll see a few people walking down Bay Street, I'm
Yeah.
sure, in their speedos,
yeah,
as we do.
and it's only been 24 odd years ago that you and I worked together in
That's right.
in Albert Park.
In Albert Park, yeah.
So the area certainly has changed, and it's for the better. I still love it.
That's right. And I mean, the amenities and facilities that we have are just world class, and they're just getting better and better. And, the interesting thing is, in terms of where our office is located, there's not much more property that can be developed.
Yeah.
So there's not many cranes. Yes, we'll have more development towards Fisherman's Bend as that area sort of undergoes renewal. But in terms of like close to our office, pretty much every development site has been developed or is about to be developed. So we're going to see a contraction of stock,
Yeah.
which is good for people that own property, whether they're looking to rent their properties out or to sell.
Yeah.
So-
Well, we've got the urban renewal stuff happening, so around near the block. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of industrial stuff being turned back into residential. And we spoke about this last month, but what we're talking about with the stock being low, that's put a lot of pressure on the rentals as well. So
That's right.
there's not a lot available.
No, I mean, we've had, I think, our record month in November for lettings. So,
Yeah.
and there's more and more coming on. So,
Yeah. So it's tough, but there are opportunities as always. And if you're looking for off-market processes or any help at all, please call the guys. They're ready, and willing.
absolutely. We'll be back on the 3rd of January.
Yeah.
So we're going to hit the ground running and just get on with it.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. And we won't see you, so have a fantastic Christmas.
Absolutely.
Thanks.